Hey, friends and family. I'm back home, safe and sound in Nevada. Um, I know I've done some posts on Facebook, so I'm sure most of you are aware my mother passed away when I left for Ohio. I thought I was going to survey the situation and see what was going on, see how bad she was. I didn't know she was dead already. I got there Tuesday morning and drove to the hospital that she had been in, because that was the last place I was aware of her being at. No one called me or attempted to keep me informed, even though I am her oldest child. And that should have been keeping in contact with me. I got there to that hospital, and initially all they could or would tell me was that she had been discharged on like November 4th, which is like, that was totally baffled, because how do you discharge a person who is basically brain dead? To my knowledge, she never regained any type of consciousness. And of course, she was not suffering as far as I know. A big thank you to my brother Tony's fiance, Robin, because after she wasn't where I thought she was, and I didn't know what to do, I didn't know where to look, I didn't know how to find her, and Robin put me in touch with some, okay, here's the social worker, called and asked for the social worker at the hospital, and call a couple other places that she was aware of would take care of someone in my mother's condition. But because of her, I was able to locate my mom, but of course it was too late. She passed away the day after Christmas, December 26th. Technically natural causes. You can put someone who's brain dead on life support, but eventually they're still going to shut down, because the brain's not there to tell them to stay alive. For me, the loss is probably a little harder than I expected it to be. Of course, I've done some crying off and on. When Cherokee picked me up this morning at the airport, I saw her, I started crying. I was so happy to see my baby, and so grateful for the fact that we get along as a mother and daughter. We're very close. It is a closeness that I longed for with my own mother, that I kept hoping to have one day. When I got into the house, I was flabbergasted at the conditions she had been living in her house. She was no longer able to take care of the house, and and there was no proper heat source in the house. Um, I guess the hardest part for me right now is the fact that, you know, I'm I'm never going to be able to reconcile with her properly. I mean, yes, we've been talking um, the last, you know, couple of decades, last over, almost 2 decades. We've at least been speaking on speaking terms, phone wise. Of course, I was not trying to show up for a visit, um, even though I did invite her to come live with me. Um, but I wasn't aware of how bad it was. Um, and the selfishness of her and my brother to have my son living in those conditions tells me just how much they did not love him and do not love him. And then, of course, I didn't even get to see my son the whole visit. Him and my brother Jason hid out with him the whole time I was there and refused to take my calls and refused to see me. Which is probably going to turn into his loss because I found some paperwork in the house for some insurance that my mother had for them to split, for my brother to split with my son. She didn't, as far as I know, she didn't have any will or anything like that. The house is still in her name. The whole time this last few months while she's been slowly dying, my brother's been driving her car. Yeah. So I've got some things I'm upset about, but of course I'm never going to get to reconcile with her properly. I miss and long for the mother who liked to go bike riding, who loved to go swimming, who at one time took great pleasure in my successes. But that person has actually been gone for a lot longer than she's been dead. And I kept hoping I was going to get her back, that something would click and I'd have my mom again, my real mom. But that didn't happen. And I knew it was unrealistic of me to expect. But, her little girl that's still deep down here inside me in my heart kept, kept this hope alive that someday it would happen. So, but it didn't. So I'm just coping with the loss right now. I've got work tomorrow. And it's hopefully I won't be too, I don't know, spacey. I don't know how I'll be, but hopefully I'll still function fairly normally and be okay. All right, and these things I say and ask in the name of the Savior, and I don't know what I'm praying for anymore. Um, because my mommy's gone. And that's just how it is.